Good morning. An update to your brain is now in progress. Please
Oh
go back
my God. No. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello to you. It is the week. It is Turkey Week. I am so glad you are joining us this time again, as always, when we show up. It's random, but we do it. Anyway, my name is Kelly Wright. Hello.
And I'm James Ernest, and we're here all week. Did you flub your name? Do you want to do that again, Kelly? I always have trouble saying my name during the holidays.
Nope, I didn't flub anything. I was distracted by something. What had happened, folks, is that when we sat down to start recording, my machine decided to do a Windows update, like right bam in the middle, and I have information up, and I need this information, so we had to stop recording and come back. So I was a little discombobulated, a little flabbergasted, and now I think I'm okay.
Meanwhile, I can hear my Macintosh hard drive spinning away happily in the background, even though I've asked it for absolutely nothing.
Well, there are things these computers need to do which are not on our schedule.
They're
just
secret
do
things. Skynet is working hard in the background to help us all be better and happier people.
Yep, they're just going to do them, and we are just passengers on this trip.
Well, Kelly, it's time for our opening segment, Conversation Starters, sponsored this week by Whatever Girl. Tonight's Conversation Starter is a teaser for our YouTube-only special series. No, it's not. What? I thought I saved this. Today's Conversation Starter is last week's Conversation Starter. Oh, and here we go. I did save it. I just didn't update the intro. What did you think was cool as a kid, but isn't actually cool now?
Oh, what did I think was cool as a kid, but isn't actually cool now? I thought hippity hops were cool, and I don't think they're cool anymore now because you don't see them.
What, a hippity hop is a pair of shoes that goes up to your knee? What is a hippity hop?
No. A hippity hop was like a big rubber ball with a handle, and you sat on it, and you hippity hopped.
I do recall that object.
Yes,
what I wouldn't have given to have a hippity hop around the house.
Yeah, I know. As far as for right now, I think it would help with leg strength for the older adults. But
yeah, they sell those. They're called yoga balls. They just don't have handles on them anymore.
Yeah. See, they need handles on them because the problem is that as a kid, you don't forget the power. You don't use the power of letting go. So as you are speeding towards the ground, you're still hanging on to that hippity hop for dear life. So I think that's why they don't make them anymore, is because of, I think, the injury potential is huge. So
well, my one-word answer to what did you think was cool but isn't actually cool now is capitalism.
Ah, yes.
I was so sure too.
Yes.
Well, Janice, tell us about the disappointments of your childhood, and while you're at it, please support Here All Week on Patreon.
It was a good
great
experiment.
Patreons are sold.
Well,
it was a great experiment. Funneling the wealth to a few powerful individuals. We did the best we could, and
we did.
And here we are.
And here we are. Turmoil and civil unrest. Anyway, this week coming up is Turkey Day, and we are not doing the traditional big feast on Thursday. We're going a little different with different foods. Now, James, are you a traditionalist when it comes to this meal, or are you like, nah, I don't care?
I have always had a restricted palate, that is to say, I'm a picky eater, and so I didn't really indulge too much in all the delights of Turkey Day. I don't like stuffing, but I do like turkey. I don't like something. I like cranberries, the cranberry loaf that comes out of the cranberry can.
The
cranberries.
Schlup.
And schlup. And I like me some pumpkin pie. But in this household, we kind of... We went real hard on the turkeys for a while, brining the turkeys and cooking them for days and whatever, but never really was satisfied with the results of all that hard work. So these days we do a chicken, and we're having a chicken dinner, I think with a vanilla custard pie on Wednesday, because on Thursday I am flying. It was cheaper to fly on Thanksgiving to my one and only game convention of the year, GobbleCon, which is down in San Francisco.
Well, we are not doing poultry for this feast day. We are doing pork tenderloin actually, and wrapping that in bacon, and we'll have let's see, the standards. So do you call it stuffing or dressing?
I don't use a word for something I don't like.
Okay,
it's not fair to the thing.
So, okay, fair enough. So, yes, we call it stuffing. So we're going to have stuffing on the side. We'll have mashed potatoes. I'm doing a little tiny thing of yams. I don't do the marshmallows in the yams. I'm doing also green beans almondine. No, not that casserole with the French onions and the black ring around inside the
Ooh.
crispy part. No, thank you.
Yeah, no,
And,
you're listing all the things I forgot exist because I don't eat them.
Oh yes, oh yes, and then of course roasted Brussels sprouts. So yeah, that's dinner. And I was actually quite good with the shopping because I remember I kept telling myself, you are only cooking for 3 people. You are only cooking for 3 people. Whereas
Thanksgiving,
normally,
be good with the shopping.
whereas normally I'm making food for like 15, and then you just get real tired of the leftovers that are there. I'm so tired of eating turkey every day. Anyway. Speaking of
That's a darkness. That's a place of darkness I wasn't expecting. The day after day of turkey sandwiches and leftovers. And why has this happened to me?
Day after day. Okay, so Instacart. That's a service where you can order stuff from different grocery stores and a person will deliver it. It's a grocery
if I recall
delivery service.
correctly, it's a new shopping service that just buys stuff for you and you decide later if it was a good idea. Is that right, or what am I thinking of?
Kind of. Basically, it's a nationwide grocery delivery platform. And then they did a poll this past October of more than 5,000 Americans to ask them what they don't like. So what are the disliked dishes, according to Instacart? It says the majority of Americans are planning to host or contribute dishes to the dinner, and they plan to make a traditional meal for friends and family. But there are some menu choices that Americans are divided over when it comes to key parts of the meal, like white versus dark, homemade versus canned cranberry sauce, whether to make homemade pies or serve pre-made pies from the store. But basically, butter makes everything super, super good. So if it's got a lot of butter in it, I think we're okay. So what do Americans wish weren't on their Thanksgiving plates? So according to the results from the surveys, these are among the worst Thanksgiving dishes, according to
Immigrants.
Americans. No. You don't serve that at dinner. You can invite them for dinner, but you don't serve them.
I've spoken to
on the
many
table.
Americans, and I'm pretty sure that's the first thing they would say.
Let's see. On the top of the list, candied yams. They don't like candied yams. Second, green bean casserole. Third,
These are
cranberry
things you
sauce.
said you were making.
I know. Apparently, I'm in the minority. Sweet potato casserole, stuffing, salad, mashed potatoes, travesty, and dinner rolls. So
Did you just say that they voted against mashed potatoes?
they did.
Wow, Carl Sagan was right. We are descending into chaos.
It's true. And I know I mentioned that everything is better with butter. And last November, Instacart delivered 3,399,218 pounds of butter. So there you go.
Capitalism, it's better with butter.
Oh, everything's better with butter. So apparently the items I am serving are on the we don't like those list. And so there. Okay.
Well, I'm serving plane travel for Thanksgiving, and that's on everyone's we hate this list too, but we'll see. I had to look up and see if I had, yesterday, if I had bought myself a first class ticket or just kept my fingers crossed for the upgrade. And for the moment, I'm in coach, so it'll be a Thanksgiving for the books.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do for that day if the snacks are like based on the table. You know, you get a turkey jerky stick. Here you go.
Haven't taken an airplane lately, have you? There's no such thing as the snacks.
I have not. So they don't do the snacks anymore, do they?
No, not really. I think in first class you get the snacks, but back in coach you get a kind of a grim look and a lecture about safety.
Okay. Sounds great.
You don't want to give these kids snacks in the middle of a flight. They could choke on them on the food, and then you'd be doing the Heimlich, and there's not a lot of room to move around. It's just eat when you get there. That's the new policy at all airlines.
Is it?
Eat when you get
Okay.
there. Yes.
You'll eat when you get there. Speaking of eating, so cooking on the stove, etc. Do you know what I just recently found out? That exists is a silicone strip that you put on your counter and partly on your stove that covers that gap, so the food can't fall between the stove and the counter. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't have such a gap, but I can imagine that a strip would be helpful in covering one.
Oh, it is life-changing, James. Life-changing.
So you're saying you have a freestanding range, and then next to that range
Yes.
there is a counter, a built-in counter.
Correct.
And so okay, so my world has 2 kitchens in it, both of which have essentially a built-in cooktop, so I don't have the
Okay.
gap of
All
which
right.
you speak. But yes,
So you don't have
the
it,
range
yes.
appliance is separate from the counters. Therefore, there is a 1-inch food trap
There
that
is a
that
gap.
lingers between them and sucks down everything that wants to fall.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's just so gross when stuff just gets stuck down there and you run the butter knife wrapped in paper towel trying to clean it off and
And
just
until you
doesn't-
get a 1-inch wide dog to live in that crevice and eat everything that falls down in there, it just accumulates, sometimes stacking up 3-4 inches over the course of the lifetime of the kitchen, and until it essentially is its own civilization and requires special permits to take out.
Exactly. So I found this gap filler and I'm just in heaven. It's the simplest thing. And I was like, why wasn't this in my life for years?
That's the secret of the kitchen industry, Kelly. They create a need and then they fill it. Sometimes 40 years later, but still.
But still. Do you have something in the kitchen you're like, I'm so glad I have this?
Eggs. No, what is my... I think we've discussed this before, but in my Las Vegas kitchen, the thing that I'm happiest about is gas. And I know that is recently environmentally unfriendly and bad things about cooking with gas. But man, if I actually want anything to get hot at a reasonable amount of time, then cooking on an electric cooktop like I do in Seattle is just tedious.
It's painfully slow. Yes.
Yeah.
And isn't your gas? You've mentioned that your gas stove in Vegas is right in the pathway of the AC flow.
Right.
So,
yes.
so the flame gets blown out.
There isn't a vent over the oven because that would require running some sort of pipe to the outside. But also quite annoying is that the fans of the house all seem to be focused on the kitchen to create this sort of swirling vortex that almost blows out the fire coming out of the oven. So in the summer, when I want to cook anything, I have to turn off the air conditioning, which is a compromise I'm not always willing to make, and then remember to turn it back on when I'm done cooking.
When you're done, you've done what is it? Bikram. Yeah, Bikram yoga is the hot yoga. So you're doing Bikram cooking.
Sure.
Okay,
I'm just doing
sure.
Bic. I'm doing Bic lighter. I'm sitting on the back porch, smoking a cigarette, trying to get out into the cold. The other thing is how close the kitchen is when you cook in the kitchen. The kitchen gets warm, and the thermostat is right there. So the thermostat freaks out. It's like, oh my God, the house is on fire. And I'm like, no, it's just me cooking. And they're like, no, you need some cold air right now.
Well, the
Those
challenge.
little monsters in the thermostat, they're confused. They're easily fooled.
Challenge. That was someone didn't look at the blueprints and basically double check to be like, this might not be a good idea, but you know.
I don't know. It's hard to anticipate every possible design challenge. And in this building where I live, every unit is theoretically somewhat of a different footprint. And so, yeah, there's delicious mysteries with every new discovery. It's unlike the place I didn't get in Hawaii, where the kitchen was basically just a boxing glove on a stick that would come out and punch you in the face every time you tried to cook something.
Wow, you had a Looney Tune kitchen over there that was like, boing. Let's take a break. Let's talk about our sponsor. To our sponsor. Our sponsor shall talk to us. This episode of Here All Week is brought to you by Whatever Girl, the dating website from Don La Voiture. We couldn't care less.
Are you still searching for that special someone?
Or at this point, would pretty much mean anyone. James, I don't know if I'm having a stroke or not. I mean, seriously.
There's only one way to know.
I
by
don't
then
smell
it's too
toast,
late.
so I think it's okay. Or at this point, would pretty much anyone do?
Are you convinced that a special someone is somewhere out there looking for you?
Or have you finally lowered the bar all the way to the ground?
Do you wander the naked city searching high and low for your perfect soulmate?
Or will you fall headfirst into the first... Or will you fall headfirst into the first steaming manhole that opens up to you?
If you're like most people, you've given up on finding that perfect partner.
I know I have. Single, married, divorced, young, old, happy, sad, indifferent. At this point, who really cares?
I sure don't. Introducing Whatever Girl from Don La Voiture. It's the online dating site for people who just don't care anymore.
Are you sick of filling out complicated questionnaires?
I sure am. And what's the point? Everyone lies on those things anyway.
I know I do. I like mountain climbing and skydiving, classical music, and long walks on the beach.
Whatever, girl. You sit around the house eating Funyuns and watching Desperate Housewives.
So true. Whatever girl is different. We ask nothing, we tell nothing, and we promise nothing.
We've got no algorithms, no surveys, no matchmaking, and no expectations, and neither should you.
If you make a connection with whatever girl, we'll be as surprised as you are.
Ladies, try our sister service, Whatever Dude, if you're less than picky about the men in your life.
No bios, no IMs, no photos, no awkward one-word midnight IMs.
Hey.
Whatever, dude. Just get on with it.
Sign up for Whatever Girl and or Whatever Dude today and hear what real people are saying about us.
I used to have this picture in my head of the perfect guy, but I finally said, screw that, and joined Whatever Girl.
Me too. I was sick of cute-ass Instagram filters and incomprehensible profile pages. Now I'm a Whatever Dude.
I'm a real tough person, and I like horses and flicks in my bod. No weirdos, please.
Whatever, girl. I'm just going to hit that spinner and take my chances.
Whatever Girl is brought to you by Don Lavoiture, the creator of Any House Please and Stocks, I guess.
Whatever Girl is fast, automatic, anonymous, and promise-free.
Spin the wheel today. You never know what you'll get.
I'll say, I met my first wife on Whatever Girl. Turns out she was dating again, too.
And I've been with my new boy for a week now. He's not great, but whatever, dude.
Get your hopes down with a free trial spin on Whatever Girl. Stop searching and let fate decide.
Whatever Girl and Whatever Dude from Don Lavoiture. We couldn't care less.
Don't just give up on yourself. Give up on everyone with Whatever Girl.
They also do steaks. You know what? I am
that's
really glad I'm... Yes.
That's a fun menu, the Whatever Steaks menu. Just spin the wheel and see what you get.
See what you get. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not dating. I'm so glad. Oh,
I hear it's terrible. I have a friend on Facebook who continually posts her horror stories with online dating sites, mostly screenshots of dumbasses and their dumb answers to dumb questions.
Oh, there is a Twitter feed and an Instagram feed called She Rates Dogs. And people share some really horrible profiles and also some really awkward text messages back and forth. So it's sometimes it's my guilty go-to when I need to pass some time and then pat myself on the back that, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not dating.
I'm so glad that part of my life is over.
It's
yes.
over. Okay, so I looked up this recipe here, and I just wanted to share it with you. If this is something, because I know you're a picky eater, so I just want to ask you if you would do something like
I
this.
have an educated palate. I am a super taster. I don't believe picky eater is or I suppose you could call me a person with picky eating. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, anyway, it's called pumpkin, bacon, and crispy sage mashers. How's that sound?
Yes.
Interested? Well, according to Ryan Scott from the Today Show here, once you try this recipe, you're never going to want traditional mashed potatoes again. I don't think so, Ryan. Them's fighting words. Sorry.
They put bacon in it. Bacon is the butter of not being butter.
It is. So you in this recipe, it's 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree, 2 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes peeled and cut, sea salt, tablespoon of olive oil, 1 pound of bacon cut into a 1/4-inch pieces, 2 tablespoons of roughly chopped fresh sage, 1/2 pound of unsalted butter, 1/2 cup of sour cream. I think the bacon, the sour cream, and the butter are what's going to make it super good. And then black pepper. So basically you are roasting you're boiling the potatoes, you're doing the puree, you're kind of getting a scorch on it to give it that roasty flavor, and you just mix it all together and you put it in the oven and eat it. But that sounds delicious, but I don't know if
you
I would be
you had me
offering
up
that
until
to you.
sour cream. Sour cream is
Is it
well,
no?
and here's the thing, it's sour.
Yes. So
I think
take it
we
you're
could
not
get by without it, though. I bet this recipe
think-
would survive just fine without the sour cream.
just fine without it. I agree. So that tells me then if it's sour, you're not a yogurt eater either.
Yogurt is fine, but sour cream is literally sour. Like,
Yes.
it's any food that has been discovered by leaving other food out too long is not on my favorite list,
Got it.
including wine
got it.
of all things.
Well, I know that you're not a drinker, so
Yeah.
why would you drink wine if you don't like something, right?
Well, Kelly, I've got some cartoon trivia for you. Speaking of Looney Tunes,
Okay,
would you like to answer some trivia questions?
I am ready.
Since mankind discovered artwork itself, we have struggled to bring our drawings to life. This series of trivia questions explores animation, cartoons, and the endless struggle of mankind against forces beyond our control, but mostly cartoons. Question 1. Along with its two atrocious yet still overrated sequels, 1999's groundbreaking film The Matrix also inspired a collection of cartoon shorts. What was that collection called?
I have no idea. Really?
It's called The Animatrix, featuring an
Oh, okay.
eclectic mix of 9 stories set in the Matrix universe. The Animatrix was released as a collection in 2003.
Have you seen them?
Yeah, they were a part of the Matrix like boxed set. They're cool.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Question 2. Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse appear on the screen together in only one film, this 1988 Robert Zemeckis film that was half animated, half live action.
Well, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
That is correct. Warner Brothers would only allow Bugs and Daffy to appear in the same film if they received identical screen time with Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck.
Aha.
Question 3. A single frame of hand-drawn animation, usually painted on a clear plastic sheet, is better known as a what?
Cell.
A
CEO.
cell. That's right. Short for celluloid, which is a highly flammable, transparent material made of cellulose, nitrate, and camphor. Individual movie cells can sometimes sell for upwards of $50,000.
I've collected a few cells. I have, and I also have some reproduction, what are called Cera cells, signed by Chuck Jones. So I have a few of those.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Question 4. What was the name of Walt Disney's first full-length animated feature?
Steamboat Willie.
Full length.
Snow White.
And?
The Seven Dwarfs.
Correct. Mostly correct.
That was painful.
Snow
Pull
White
that
and the
one
Seven
out.
Dwarfs, released in 1937, this hand-animated classic tale tells the story of a beautiful girl lost in the woods and the 7 tiny old men who take her in. It is, however, not the first full-length animated film, which is believed to be Cristiani's El Apostol from 1917.
Oh, wow.
Question 5. According to hearsay, this notoriously body-obsessed pop star hand-corrected the noses in every single storyboard for his 1986 appearance as an animated California raisin.
That is an excellent question, and I don't know who that is. That's an
That is
excellent
Michael
question.
Jackson. The
Oh, okay.
famous child pop star went on to have a complicated and troubled career.
Mm-hmm.
Question 6. Despite their computer graphic appearance, these cubist-inspired personal shields in this 1984 science fiction film were actually animated entirely by hand. What's the film?
That would be Dune.
That would be Dune.
I
That
didn't know it
film
was
also
animated by hand. Of course it would be.
was.
There really
It
wasn't
looks like
CGI.
computer animation, but it's too old and it's super
Yeah.
like amazingly hard work. They had to take the images to make them look like they were refracting. They took the video images or the film images and cut them up and moved them around like a collage. It's an
interesting.
insane amount of work.
Wow. Holy
Dune
moly.
also featured gigantic model shots that served as 3D matte paintings, capturing live action and models in camera. Question 7. Beginning in 1963, this franchise of mostly Peter Sellers comedies featured animated title sequences and catchy theme music by Henry Mancini.
That would be the Pink Panther.
It would indeed. Strangely, the series faltered early by not including the Pink Panther in the title of the second film, A Shot in the Dark, and later faltered even more by trying to get by without Peter Sellers.
Oh, that's not going to work.
Yeah, like the third one or the fourth one. I think it's just the third one called Inspector Clouseau has like
Yeah.
Alan Arkin as Clouseau, and
Yeah.
it's a real shrugger. Nobody got Clouseau like Sellers. Question 8. Red's Dream, Tin Toy, and Knick Knack are some of the earliest animated shorts from what would become this major animation studio.
Would that be Warner Brothers?
It's Pixar.
Oh, it is Pixar. Okay.
Pixar, along with 1986's Luxo Jr., these shorts were directed by John Lasseter and released in 87, 88, and 89. Pixar would go on to reach into our hearts and tear them out, still beating with cartoons for the next infinity of years. Thanks
I
for
can't
sharing our
tell
cartoon knowledge with you, and we hope to see you all at the next Matrix movie, whatever the heck it's about.
Cannot tell you how many times watching a Pixar movie, like in the beginning, yes, I am just weeping. I'm like, Pixar, I hate you. God bless
right.
America, Pixar. Lordy, lordy, lordy. I'm going to close the show since still we're talking about food and stuff like that. I've got Something I want to share with you and our listeners, James. There is a Brooklyn-based art collective, and they are launching a line of chips with flavors inspired by foods banned in the United States in its latest artistic statement on food production and consumption.
What's the catcher in the rye flavor? I bet that's good.
So flavors include horse meat, fugu, which is the poison blowfish, and kasumarzu, which is the maggot cheese. So I don't know if you're familiar with the maggot cheese. I believe it's Scandinavian. Anyway, it's cheese.
You might have heard earlier that I am not a fan of things that have been left to sit too long.
Correct. So the project is called Illegal Chips, although consuming the chips is still 100% legal, the company promises. So basically they're saying
Yeah, because all those flavors are artificial.
Well, sure, of course they are. So they're saying chips can be flavored to taste like anything. So why do all these chip companies have no imagination and keep making flavors that we can easily eat in real life? We wanted to expand the palate and give people a taste that they will never experience anywhere else. So it's called Mischief, MSCHF, and that's the art collective behind this. So I'm seeing stories all over of people doing taste tests, and it seems that the kasumarzu is the one that's really throwing people off. You don't expect like maggot cheese.
No, one never does. I am a fan of unflavored chips. In fact, I'm so a fan of them that I get the original flavor of Doritos, which is not nacho cheese. It's just basic corn flavored Doritos. This animal is so rare that many people believe it doesn't exist. I tell people I want plain Doritos, or that I like plain Doritos, and they say, "Do you mean nacho cheese?" And I say no. And then they say, "Those don't exist." But only this year I found them on sale at Fred Meyer. I bought a bag and I should have bought 4 because they were gone the next day.
Yeah, I have seen them. So it's, people are like, I've never seen them. It's like, you're not looking for them because you're just going for the nacho cheese.
Yeah.
So what do you do when they're not available? Do you substitute like Tostitos?
You can find me in the chip aisle just sitting on the floor, rocking back and forth and weeping. That's what I do. And sometimes I stay that way for years.
Wow.
No, I try all the corn chips. I do. I try them all, and none of them is quite as good. It's a travesty of truth. But yeah, the next time I see them on display anywhere, I'm buying 4 bags.
Just James, you really like those chips? I do. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. Look away.
Don't look at me. And then I sit on the floor in the chip aisle, rocking back and forth and eating chips. It's prettier, but still fairly ugly.
That's the dreams of many right there, That's the dreams of many, many people. Let's see, folks. As always, thank you so much for joining us. I will put links of recipes and items and the Mischief Art Collective chips that we were talking about. Please take care of yourself. Be kind to you. Be kind to your family. Be kind to your friends, your community. We are all going through it. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends about the podcast. And be safe this week. My name is Kelly Wright.
And I'm James Ernest, and we're here all week.